Yes. I just introduced Paula. Okay, first chat. So your pleasure to join us.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Are you all okay? Are you well fed? You have your bottled water, your kits. By the way, my name is Lisa Sator. I am a I work in Woodrose, but I'm also a PAREF mother and a PAREF alumna. So I'd like to welcome all of you from the PAREF family here to Southridge. So everything okay? How did you like the performances this morning? Yes, of course I'm biased. Yes, I love them very much. But how about the great news about Southridge being a school of character? So that's a big one. So I think we're really happy to hear that. Well, I think that we won't waste any more time so that we can stick to our schedule. And please allow me to introduce our speaker for this morning's breakout session. So, we're pleased to introduce the CEO and founder of the Academy of Entrepreneurs, a leader in social business, branding, and PR. She has shared the stage with Nobel Prize winner Professor Mohamed Yunus, and she was also able to present to and even presented to the Australian government. So, let's all give a very warm welcome to Miss Paula Mills.
So much. Thank you. I've built this presentation with all of the love in the world, and I called every numerary, supernumerary that I knew around the world to help. So hopefully together we can create lots of positive impact. Okay, so I'll go through the slides, and if anyone needs a copy of the slides, just send me a message, and then I can share everything with you guys. So I think about half of this room knows me very well because you guys are my family, and the other half, nice to meet you. Little bit about my life. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 9 years old. So I started my first business. It was a tiny little business, but I called it playing with entrepreneurship at the age of 9. And I've been very lucky that my parents raised us around the world. So my dad was working for a very big company where every 3 years we had to live in a different country. And that gave me the skills to learn new languages, meet new people, connect dots, but also see problems in the world and how these problems that we have in the world are very unfair, but there are solutions for each and every single one of them. And they're actually easier than what we think. So throughout my journey, so I was born in Brazil and I was raised in South Africa. That was the first country. So a huge part of my heart, I know that you guys know me as Filipina, but a part of my heart is also in Africa. I love Africa. And it's so beautiful. Yeah, it's very, 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 very magical part of the world. And when I arrived in South Africa, I saw problems, like really big problems that we didn't have in Brazil. And I'm like, well, if we have these problems in Africa and not in Brazil, why don't we bring, the knowledge of Brazil and we solve them? So my first business was around education, empowering everyone to fight for the rights. From there, my parents got transferred to Mexico City. And then at that time, is anyone from Mexico here? No. So we were living in Mexico. Mexico at that time was very dangerous, like crazy dangerous. So we were looking for opportunities to have fun as teenagers. I was 13. So we built a skateboard business so that we could, exercise after school in a safe environment because we were, within the gated communities, inside the schools, parking lots, the shopping centers. Then when I was 18, the Prime Minister took my dad to Australia on a project. And then I realized that Australia didn't have any problems. That was our biggest problem. But the fact that we didn't have any problems was actually creating a problem, which was mental health. People didn't have a reason to live because life was so easy. The government was making all of the decisions. If anything went wrong, the government will put money in your bank account. And that's when I realized, I'm like, okay, so Africa needs help. Mexico needs help. Brazil needs help. Colombia was doing a lot of work. It needs help. Philippines needs help. Why don't we create like a triangle where companies take the team to volunteer? And by us volunteering, we're elevating the brand awareness of that company. So more people want to work there. But as a result, we're bringing money into these projects that need our support around the world. So I built Australia's, or probably the world's first social impact PR firm. So every business I've ever done has been around turning problems into opportunities. And went on and on and on and on. And then halfway through COVID, I got a phone call from the president of Guatemala asking me to be his honorary consul. So I'm also a diplomat today. And it's a project that I do for free to help countries trade with Guatemala around the world. So I feel like I'm the luckiest person in the world because from a very young age, I knew what my purpose was. And I've always had this mindset and way of working that, after many years, I came across this image that really summarizes what I think is the most important step for each and every single student in the world to go through. And we teach students business, but I always say that this is more important than any business plan they will ever write. And this is something that I think everyone in this room already has it in the heart, but I wish we could share this with the whole world. And it's very simple. It's called Ikigai. What is the one thing that you love the most that you're great at? And how do you use that to make the world a better place, to serve? And then you figure out how do you get paid. So in the business world, we have been trained to go and make money. But people get burned out, they get exhausted, and they give up along the challenges that they have. But if you build your career, your life, your business around something that you truly love while making the world a better place, no one can stop you. And you're never going to run out of energy and love to continue going forward. So this model is something that we need to teach each and every single student. How do you find your life purpose? By serving, by making the world a better place, using your natural superpowers and skills. So everyone's talking, let's say, about artificial intelligence, virtual reality. If you don't like technology, don't make a life in that space, even though there are opportunities. But if you love something like baking or skateboarding, You could build, a bakery or a skateboard business and have meaningful life by having, I don't know, gluten-free cakes for those that need gluten-free cakes, and skateboarding business so everyone is healthier, because when you skateboard, you need to be super sharp and always, super healthy so that you can improve your techniques. So each and every single hobby that we have, every time we practice, we become better at it. Anything that you love doing, every time you do, you're guaranteed to get a tiny bit better. So why don't we build a life in doing what we do best, that we get better every day, and fixing a problem in the world, and money will naturally come. So we need to build the students' skills and mindset in this order. So why did I beg to be here? So a few people are asking me like, oh, you got invited to present. I'm like, no, I begged to be here. I sent emails to everyone. So sorry that everyone that got my email, and I called everyone, and I tried different strategies, and I had lunches and dinners with people within PAREF, and I'm like, put me on stage. And I flew over just to be here with you guys, by the way. So I was in Indonesia and I had to fly to Australia. I said, no, I'm going to the Philippines on the way just to be here with you guys today. So why did I beg to be here? Because through all of the work that I do, more and more, I get this message in my prayers and in my heart that every student needs to become a global impact leader inspired by our great Jose Maria Escrivá. So if we look at his life, his message, his life, the books he has written, the talks that he has given us, it's literally this. It's teaching students how to serve, take action, and make the world a better place. So we need each and every single one of our students to go through this little cycle, which takes like literally 3 minutes for us to do this activity with the students. So we can all, and this is why I call this presentation, we need to transform all of our students into mini Jose Maria Escrivás. Because it's true, and many are going to become great. But we need to take, these steps. And what I love so much about his work, do you guys speak Spanish? So, el trabajo es oración. And it's so how do you translate that to English? Like, as you work, you're praying, I guess. Yeah, in Spanish, it sounds so much stronger. Y el trabajo es oración. My work is my prayer. In Spanish, it sounds different, though. In Spanish, it's like every action and every thought and everything I do for my work is a prayer. So it sounds very different from English to Spanish. So please learn Spanish so you guys can understand the meaning of this. And what I love about this is that we're not sitting and praying, is we're taking action, making the world a better place. And through each and every single action, this positive impact that we're creating, we're transforming society, and that comes back in the form of prayer. And this is the thing that I love the most about, the work in Opus Dei, is that we're all action takers. We're silently doing insane amount of positive work, but we're taking action every single day. And that, will contribute to our path in holiness. But I do want to raise two things that I've been raising every time I meet with my Numeri and Super, especially my Numeri friends. We do have two challenges, and literally it was the first, I screenshot the first thing that showed up, and I'm sorry if it is a little bit strong, but I'm always talking about the work to my friends, and a lot of them end up going on YouTube, because YouTube is, the most searched platform in the world, is where people get their information. And very sadly, when you type in the word Opus Dei, the videos that are showing up aren't representing the work that we're doing. So we do have a very big challenge that when we are, our image in the world. Personally, I studied PR, and I have a lot of friends that are PhD in public relations and who are Numeris around the world. And we're looking at how do we build, a new brand awareness so we can get more people to do good work with us. And another thing, and this literally I pulled like 3 days ago from the internet. So these are for me, sad statistics. In 1991, 66% of Filipino adults were attending church, and it's dropped to 43%. So, also the number of members of the Catholic Church is reducing. And this makes no sense, because we're doing more and more good work. We're working harder every day to create a positive impact and unite, but we need to, be the change makers and communicate the positive work that we're doing. I do love the idea of gently changing the world, but I seriously think that, the more we strengthen our relationship within our Opus Dei community, the more we're going to be able to drive that change. And I do have some formulas. And I truly believe that social entrepreneurship is the solution to everything in the world. Social entrepreneurship allows us to do what we love and succeed because you never give up when you're helping someone else. We sometimes give up on our own dreams, on our own promises. But if I promise you something, I will always be there for you. It's very interesting that about the human brain. So social entrepreneurship gives us meaning. It allows us to develop new and better skills every day so we can create this positive impact. Social entrepreneurship helps us to be resilient and it helps us to drive this change in the world. So I was trying to build a formula with like endless growth. If we help everyone find the life purpose, and as they work, they are taking action and it becomes like 24 hours of prayers through our work, we will 100% succeed faster because the more we do what we love, the more we succeed and the faster we learn. Then the more we succeed, the more we can give back to PAREF and our Opus Dei community and projects. The more impact projects we will have, and the more we'll be able to, enhance our positive brand awareness. And as a result, that will bring us more members, and then the cycle will continue to change so that day by day, we can solve every single problem in the world. And I'll give you guys an example of a simple problem that I've been teaching the students here at PAREF when I fly to the Philippines. There's enough food in the world to feed 1.5% of the population. So if you look at everyone in the world, there's enough food to feed everyone, plus 50% more people than that exist in the world. And how come a quarter of the world's population lives under $2 a day without enough food? So if you look at it, food is being grown, but the supply chain, the strategies behind it, the pricing, the distribution is all broken. And it's our PAREF students currently studying here that are going to be able to create this change. So we need to give them the entrepreneurial skills to turn these problems into impact businesses that make the world a better place. So I've been very lucky that I've been able to convince quite a few of the PAREF schools to join one of our projects, which is called Boss Your Future. So this year we have Rosevale, Woodrose, and Southridge coming together. We're in a school like Roseville, we're teaching grade 7s all the way to grade 12s. And we're teaching the students our special formula, which is how do we change the world and understand, what's happening in the world and what is our personality, what is our ikigai, and what are problems in the world that we can turn tragic into magic. How do we have ideas and validate them? How do we build the right finance model? How do we build the business plan? We do the marketing. How do we combat, a world of 3 zeros with no poverty, no carbon emissions, and no unemployment? How do we measure our impact? And how do we pitch for change? So we're very lucky that we have hundreds of students throughout the Philippines together learning this. So we're going into the schools, but we're also training the trainers to deliver this program. And we're empowering each and every single student to find their life purpose and solve a problem they care about. Collaborate in a team that they want to belong to, and then they pitch, and then we host a pitch competition between the PAREF schools, which from my point of view has two benefits. One is the learning how to problem solve and become an impact entrepreneur, but something that I really love that did take me a few meetings to convince PAREF is to allow everyone to be together in the same room, to collaborate, so that every parent student can learn from one another. Because the more we are collaborating, the more we'll be able to, invest in each other's business, work for each other's businesses, and so forth. So this is a little video, and I can send this to you guys afterwards, but this is a little video of 12 months ago when we held a pitch competition between Southridge and Woodrose. And we had one of the moms, I don't think she's here. No, we had one of the moms of one of the students that participated and actually won here in the room a few minutes ago. I'll bring her back afterwards. So maybe you guys can ask. Actually, she's the next presenter. She can share the experience of her son participating. And by participating in this program, her son made a better decision on what university degree. And he's already thinking now of building a startup as he goes into year 1 of university. So it's creating like an immense impact on literally every single student that we have the chance. So I was trying to design a formula, and this is just brainstorming because this is a work in progress between all of us. Part 1 could be like the foundation of faith-driven entrepreneurship through Train the Trainer, that we work with the teachers on, teaching the students through Jose Maria Escriva's journey, what we can as students, and we're all students, learn every day and have similar behaviors and practices, and helping students discover their God-given purpose and align it to their entrepreneurial ambition. So I had a group of girls from Woodrose a few years ago, and they all wanted to be doctors, and they flew to our program, and they're like, my parents forced me into this. I only came because I wanted to buy makeup at Sephora. And they're like, but now it all makes sense. Because as a doctor, I need to have the entrepreneurial skills to be efficient in my work, to use technology, to help the hospital have better systems and procedures. And also, in a few years, I want to own my own clinic. So, entrepreneurship, when you've got it aligned to your life purpose, whether you're a graphic designer, whether you are, I don't know, an athlete, a marathon runner, it ties into every single skill. So entrepreneurship is not business. It actually ties in with graphic design, architect, any single skill that our students have as a passion, we can sprinkle entrepreneurship to help them succeed. Then stage 2 is giving entrepreneurship as a tool for impact. So teaching them that business is a means to serve and transform community. So business is not about yourself. It's not about you making money. It's about you solving problems in the world for others. And the more you can do that, the more your life will be meaningful and the more you'll create a positive impact. Teaching students how to solve problem, but also something that, a lot of schools come to me and they say, oh, kids aren't resilient. And I'm like, well, because the curriculum is so boring, it's not relatable, and the exams don't even make sense. But if you're building a business that makes the world a better place, you're going to persevere, you're going to be resilient, you're going to be humble the whole time. And every single step along the way, you're doing charity by supporting communities, by creating jobs for others, by collaborating and even donating. Then step 3 is around developing entrepreneurship, embedding it into every single subject. I worked with a group of Catholic schools, actually with 100% of Catholic schools in New South Wales in Australia a couple of years ago, and 74% of students were failing in maths. We went there. It was around Valentine's Day, and we told them, come up with a business idea that makes the world a better place. Within less than 30 minutes, all of them have learned how to code an Excel spreadsheet to work out the profit and loss. So it just shows that the students weren't struggling with maths. They just were really bored at the traditional way of learning that didn't make sense, because when you memorize a formula, it doesn't make sense. But when you're building a formula for your business, for you to sell and donate part of your money towards a charity, then suddenly everything is really easy and fun. So project-based learning, it's teach students through challenge. We challenge them, they build a project, and we are mentors. We're not teaching them, we're mentoring them. Building a culture of innovation where our students are risk takers. So they need to take, the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward, but it's taking risk to do good. So faith-based framework. And also something that I see as a huge gap that we need to strengthen within, our Opus Dei network is we need to help each other more. Like I was just speaking to one of the teachers, she's coming to Sydney. I'm like, stay in my house. Someone's building a business. I'm like, I will invest. I'd much rather invest into someone who's a member of Opus Dei than someone else that I've never seen in my life. In our company, every day we're headhunting people, and I'm always sending the CVs to like Woodrose, Southridge. I'm like, please, do you have someone in the network that's studied and is in alignment with our values? So I think this is something also another big gap that we have, that through entrepreneurial education, we can unite, have the students pitching, but support one another. Then the last step is I see that there's a huge opportunity of us, strengthening our alumni network. So I know that Northfield recently ran their alumni event, and I heard it was a huge success. And we need to make sure that, it's not just Northfield and not just Woodrose or Southridge, we're uniting all of them into the same space. So creating, a positive brand through the work, but also a cycle of empowerment where one helps the other. So then I decided to create another cycle for us, which is, how about if we retrain our teachers into this new way of education, which is, teaching them about project-based learning, challenging the students and mentoring them, and bringing industry into the class. Then how about, and I was brainstorming this with Kathleen Pineda from Woodrose, how about if we get every school year, like a whole grade adopts a community for the next 12 years. So say I'm in grade 1, I could adopt Pung Laan in just down the road, maybe 30 minutes from here. And then from grade 1, I'll start visiting. And as I progress throughout my studies at Woodrose, I can continuously support the one organization, because there's this whole thing around taking kids to volunteer, and they go for a day, they take photos, it looks good on their Instagram, and the project doesn't go forward. But how about if we all, every school year in every single PAREF school in the world, adopted a project for the lifetime of the student being on campus? Because then we can transform the community through design thinking. We can, adapt, pivot, and continuously do good work. So I was thinking like grade 1 to 8, we can do field trips, research projects, and mini hackathons. Then once they get to grade 9 to 12, we can have entrepreneurial community-based projects where they build and leave a legacy that other grades can take over. It would create alumni engagement, because if I have worked in a project from grade 1 to grade 12, once I'm in year 13, year 1 of university, I still want to visit that project and be a part of it. The day my business succeeds, I'm going to hire that community, or I'm going to donate money to that project. Then the more success stories we have, more students are going to want to study at PAREF, more students are going to be, supporting Opus Day in whatever way they feel in the heart is the right way to do. So at the moment, we're working with a lot of the PAREF schools here in the Philippines on customizing our program and embedding it into the school curriculum, because every school has a different, timetable. Sometimes the school is 10 weeks, others are 16-week terms. So we're customizing and, being flexible around the needs of every school. We then educate them grade by grade. We then bring them to a pitch competition. And the idea, my dream, is that every grade 7 amongst PAREF will pitch. So we do a school competition, a class competition, a school competition, and then a PAREF competition per grade, so that we are uniting them. They're meeting each other, they're becoming friends, but they're also learning from each other's social impact projects. So this is an example of some of the work that we're doing in Fiji, Vanuatu, and in Australia, and some schools here in the Philippines. Grade 9, we put emotional intelligence, social entrepreneurship, and how to have ideas and validate. Grade 10, they do the branding for the business, they prototype new ideas, and they do this crazy subject of ours called how to fail and not die. Then in grade 11, they launch the business idea, and by launching doesn't mean that they need to start a business. I could, open a cafeteria inside a public school. So, you could do a project within a project. And then they learn about sales, leadership, and negotiation, and new technologies and business tools for that industry. And then in grade 12, they'll learn about finance, design thinking, and storytelling, so they can constantly share the stories of their success so more people can support the project. Something that's been very special, and a lot of it is thanks to Woodrose and Southridge, the students started performing so well in our programs that then the Australian universities, UK, New Zealand, Canada, and a couple of other countries contacted us going, can I have your students? Because we are focusing on high school. And I said, totally. So Macquarie is giving our students 1 year of credit and $10,000 off. UTS is giving our students, depending on the course, 6 to 12 months and 20% scholarship. These are $300,000 degrees. So the students are skipping 1 year. So, costs a third of the cost, cuts out a third of the cost for the parents, but also the students are getting scholarships. So at UTS, we have 5 Southridge boys that will start now in July, which is really exciting. The hotel school is giving 30% scholarship, and Southern Cross as well. So these are just examples of the good work that your students are doing. Is getting a lot of attention overseas. And we need to get the attention here in the Philippines as well. So this is he was the first one to get a university letter of offer. His name is Fons, studies here in this school. And when he was in grade 11, he applied to do the diploma, and straight away, UTS gave him a letter of offer with a 20% scholarship. So, and I think it's a win-win for everyone. It's a win for him because, he was in grade 11. He already knew that by grade 12, he was accepted into uni, so he doesn't have to worry about his grade. His parents, they don't have to stress, and we're saving the parents over $100,000. But also his mindset. Font has launched his little websites development agencies where he builds websites for small businesses in the service space. So he said, I don't want to be building websites for e-commerce with a lot of buttons and pricing. I want to help people that are starting the business in the space of service, whether they're a graphic design, a lawyer, a physio, a personal trainer. I want to help small businesses start. So in a couple of days, he builds the website. So, and he's now in grade 12 with a scholarship, a tiny business, that he's, constantly telling me the updates. And I think, story by story, we'll be able to transform every single student. Something else that I've been speaking to some of the teachers around the Philippines, especially in the Catholic system, is a lot of students are very passionate about joining UN model. So they're doing the UN model, the training, the classes, and a lot of them are, once or twice a year flying around the world to join some of the activities. So what we've been working on, and we will be doing this with Woodrose, so you guys are welcome to participate in the last week of October, first week of November. So we've partnered with a charity over in Indonesia. So we're flying the girls to Bali, and in 1 week, we'll teach them how to understand a problem, pick a community that needs help, do the risk analysis on that community. Then they have to go over to the community, record content to build a TikTok video to go viral. And within that week, they need to implement with the hook, the call to action, the right editing, raise $3,000 so that this organization can build a home in this village. So it's not just, and this is the thing, like with UN model, you go over and you learn how to communicate. But I think our students need to take the next step, is implement the change and monitor it in the long term. And it'll be so beautiful that from, October, we'll have, homes being built with the PAREF Woodrose logo at the entrance as a thank you for the time being donated. So I would love for us to have more conversations amongst yourselves and pick projects. Maybe we all fly to, Kenya, and we all, go to the college in the Philippines. We can travel to places around the world and support projects that we've already, been involved in, communities that we already trust, but that as a learning opportunity for students. So our vision is that Opus Dei can produce ethical and innovative leaders who empower the communities and others to provide a positive impact in the world. But I think our first step needs to be here in the Philippines. We have so many amazing projects that have already been started, and your students are the smartest students, so let's get them to, drive this change. So here's just an example of how it's free and so simple to help communities. Kathleen from Woodrose, I was here for my birthday a couple of months ago, and I said, I just want to do something amazing for my birthday. She's like, oh, let's go and visit Punglaan. I said, perfect, because it's all about women empowerment, hospitality, transforming girls. I'm like, let's go. And I got there. I'm like, girls, what are your plans? And they're like, oh, we'd love to have our own business. I'm like, okay, I'll donate all of our courses to you girls. So I called some of my teachers and said, who wants to jump, and teach these classes? They were fighting over who was going to, donate the time to teach the girls. But then when I spoke to the girls, they were studying hospitality. And I said, okay, so what are you learning? Oh, we learned about concierge. We learned about, reception. And I said, so what is concierge? And they didn't know. And then I'm like, have you guys ever been to a hotel? They're like, no. And I'm like, so you've never entered a hotel in your life? So I have a lot of good friends at the Marriott. So I call the HR director of the Marriott in Australia that is often in Asia. And I said, Fiona, can you guys just squeeze us in and we take these 100 girls at your availability just for a tour of the hotel so they can see what is concierge, how does the elevator work, and how does the VIP, how do the systems work? So it took me one email. It got responded in 10 minutes, and now they've signed an MOU. Yes, yeah, there's no MOU. Thank you. And they signed an MOU so that the girls can get tours. But now the Marriott has decided they're going to hire the girls. So it's so good. And it's such a win-win because the Marriott is desperate for talent. Punglaan has the talent. And it was one email to get this done. So when I was here in Manila last month, Abaj, who's this amazing entrepreneur here in the Philippines, I told him, I had a meeting to go with him. I'm like, do you want to just come in the car with me? We'll go to Punglaan and then we'll go to the meeting. He said, yeah. And he owns many businesses, but he owns a business called Gorditos, which does little, nibbly food. So he's the biggest company in the Philippines that does catering for little nibbles. So I told him, can you come over and just, we'll share the microphone for an hour and power the girls, and that's it. And then as he was there, he's like, who here needs a job? So he got the girls a job. And then he said, I will also mentor you on your businesses so you girls can create your business. And again, this is free, for us to help each other. So these are just two simple examples. So I was thinking, because I'm at Woodrose every spare second I have. Whenever I'm in the Philippines, I'm always going over with the girls. The girls are like my sisters. And I was thinking, how can we build an ongoing support between two organizations? Because it's girls to girls that they do community reach, they're fundraising, they everything they learn, they could be doing peer-to-peer training. These girls told me that they want to learn about more about leadership, and we can run a leadership conference. um, these girls also, most of the girls' parents are entrepreneurs. So we could be, creating jobs for the girls, collaborating, whether it's through a paid internship or on the job or even hiring them. So I see, we need to now take the next step, but the most important is to make it ongoing and sustainable. So while we're teaching the students how to become change makers, is we're putting them into real projects and making it long term. I think that's what's really needed. So my final slide is el trabajo es oración. So our mission should be to transform our students into saints. So thank you so much. Lovely meeting you guys. And I really hope that, yes, so you guys can just look us up, Academy of Entrepreneurs, Instagram, Facebook. You can go through the info email and just send me a message, and I can jump on a call with each and every single one of you guys, because it will be so easy for us to create even more impact together through, our connections, our passion for our students, but also through, all of the education that we're building. We just need to put it into action and collaborate with one another. So, salamat po. Thank you. Thank you.
Salamat po, Paula. All right. I think it's time for us to take a few questions. Are you okay with that, Paula? Yeah. Oh, please have a seat there. So a lot of inspiring ideas, very edifying also to hear what our students are capable of. We have a question right here.
Thank you. Hello.
Working.
I'll give you my mic.
Hello. Yeah,
Perfect.
it's working already. Hi, Paula.
Nice to meet
Yeah.
you.
I was actually torn between attending this class and the other class. I'm glad that I came here. I attended your talk. I am actually the PR1 teacher of the grade 11 students. Yeah, I wanted to talk to you last time. You were there, but I didn't have the opportunity because I had to go else. I was rushing for something. Now, in the same way, you said that business should be integrated in all areas of life. And I think the same should be done with research. And yes, because if we get to teach the students to be data driven as early as grade one, kinder, and all the way, it's a life skill that they really need to learn. We should collaborate more.
And I think that everyone's talking about the word design thinking for the last maybe 5 to 10 years. Like, oh my God, we need to teach design thinking and design thinking. I'm like, design thinking is such common sense. You go to the community, you ask them open questions, you understand their needs, you adapt, and you go back to the community and ask them feedback. It can make it better, better, better. So, in the space of entrepreneurship around the world, everyone's always competing with each other. And I always say, don't waste your time in the competitors. Invest your time in being best friends with your customers, with your community through research to understand the needs. So, because they will give you insights and they'll put you much ahead of the competitor because they'll tell you exactly what they're looking for. And then if you're listening to them and you implement, you win the loyalty forever and then you win their community over. So 100% research is definitely a huge part of the success because we have assumptions in our head, and only through research and validation will be able to make it better and continuously improve. It's not just researching once, it's the continuous improvement. So 100%. I've got my business cards. I'll get your private number and we'll talk. Yes.
Sound check. Good morning, Miss Paula. We're from Taipei. I'm a Filipino, but I've been there for 12 years. Yeah, at the very heart of Taipei is a Catholic school, Dominican International School. Along with us are Taipei American School, Taipei European School, and a little bit more of Morrison Academy around the area. And I'm with Dr. Agosh here and another two delegates from Taipei. My first question is, can we bring you to Taipei?
I actually I'm waiting for the Australian government to organize the meeting. I should be there in the next 6 to 8 weeks. So I'll give you my card as well. So you're 100%
Thank you so much because we are very much we had an affiliation with the the Chamber of Commerce, when we send students to actual project for business. So they integrate with actual business entrepreneur who are really in the field, the area of business. But you gave us a very profound understanding of um, service learning, actually, in a very sustainable way. Because sometimes we do what we do, even in the Philippines, is we bring students out there, take a picture, post it on the net, then wow, wonderful, fantastic, it's awesome, and that's it. But what about the sustainability, the impact, the lifelong learning? And that's why when Dr. Dioko invited me here, she is a friend of mine because we are in the graduate school program. Said, Doc John, please come over in here. I was just like, we are at the top of, academic concerns at this point. I said, like, I told to my principal, like you, I have to invite myself and be there. Yeah, because I really would like. I look forward to see how it is done in here. And you brought us an opportunity, a reflection to bring home in Taipei that we have to do more. And this is an opportunity for us to reflect that we have to involve all the stakeholders in the long process. It's not the job of a teacher, a researcher, the job of a parent, and bring them on board because this is a very holistic and transformative process of learning. And thank you for that. Salamat.
I'll give you my card as well. I'd like to introduce you. I've
Oh,
got
thank you so
friends.
much.
I have friends that run the Professor Eunice Center there with social entrepreneurship. So that's one of also the reasons why I'm going there because I was at a conference with them here in Manila about a year ago. So they're doing beautiful work with the project. Soon, as I said, I've been to Australia this year for 5 days. Everyone's like, "Where do you live?" I'm like, literally in an airport. So I'm hoping that I can go to Australia in a couple of days. I just need to get, just some time with our school because we've got some face-to-face students that I need to visit, and then after that, I'll jump back on a plane to Asia. So I'm hoping in about 6 to 8 weeks maximum. Yes. Yes, I'll give you my card. I've got my card back there. Yes. Thank you. And collaborate, with one another here. Like call the schools that we're working with, but also we can choose projects. Working with the Chamber of Commerce is genius. My next presentation today, I'm doing the TEDx presentation for the Chamber of Commerce here in Manila in 2 hours from now. And it's literally that it's the Chamber's responsibility to get their businesses to give our students problems so that our students can solve them and everyone learns and collaborates and grows. Yes. Yes.
Students, sorry, our students are from AP, taking AP entrepreneurship. That's why they have this, yeah, the AP classes. But you mentioned also about the UN model. We have this model United Nations, which the students are crazy of. Every conferences, uh, local and international. And I'd like to ask, how do we get these students, because they do conferences but the output is something like less. They talk about, they simulate all the debates on global issues and United Nations.
I
Yeah.
100% agree. I think the UN, and I love because I did UN model when I was in school living in Mexico, and it was super interesting experience for a couple of days to learn. But we didn't put anything into action. They give us a microphone and we had to debate on a case, and I'm like, I want to meet that leader. So we have, I don't have it here on the screen, but I can email you guys. We're hosting, I think it's on the 6th or 9th of June. We're bringing students over to Canberra for a week, and they're going to be having lunches and dinners with the ambassadors. So it's not, debating on a fake case study. They're literally going to be with the leaders. They're going to meet the CEO of UNICEF and the head of United Nations in Australia. So yeah, so our projects are very different, and we've been working with a lot with the PAREF schools is on educating them, and they have to pitch an idea and then implement. So Woodrose recently was in Sydney with us, and they had to build the prototype at the end. So we have the groups of girls that study with us here face to face, and then a percentage that goes overseas, but it's all about implementation. Yes, thank you.
Hi, good morning, Paula. I'm Badet Kiblat from Roseville School, Cagayan de Oro City. So I have 2 points. One is a sharing, and the other one is an invitation. So my sharing is, I'd like to affirm your vision creating social entrepreneurs. My generation, we were raised by our parents to become employees, right? So we're in the employee quadrant. But thank God, God made it possible for me to become an entrepreneur, and I have been an entrepreneur since 2018. Thank you very much. And at first, it was just about the money. Yeah. But, being around successful entrepreneurs who are doing social entrepreneurship, I realized that being an entrepreneur is not just about becoming rich, but it's really about wealth creation, not just for myself, but also for my community. So your vision resonates with my vision. In fact, maybe I could pitch to you a startup. I don't know, but we have so many dried leaves in in our community. I want to transform the dried leaves into energy. So maybe we can discuss that. Yeah, but I don't know how. And I'm not a scientist, but
It's super easy. So the reason why my dad went to live in Australia with us as a family is to do ethanol. So any plant matter, if you ferment, it
okay.
turns into
Oh,
ethanol, and then you can use that as a cleaning product, as a fuel matter. Super simple technology.
okay. Yeah, I will research on that and use AI. And then my second point is an invitation, because just a few weeks ago I met a nun who takes care of young women from an indigenous community in Mindanao. So I think this is an open invitation to all. And for some reason, I have a heart for indigenous people. I don't know why. Because maybe my dad created patriotism in me to love my roots. And I want to invite you, because I will be creating a program for these young girls. Um, they are victims of violence and abuse, and but they're very teachable. They have converted to Catholicism, and maybe we can integrate Boss Your Future program with them.
Do you know, can I give an idea? Because your kids are probably participating in our program, right?
Yes, I have a
So
grade 10.
I am trying to convince the Ministry of Education at a global level, and I'm only getting no's. But I think that grades shouldn't exist, exams, none of these things should exist. So I'm trying to convince, and I will get there because I don't stop until I get what I want. I want to convince the world that we only graduate students when they're able to teach someone else. Because they say, that for you to learn, you need to implement. I think the best way to learn is you learn, you implement, and you teach someone else. So part of the project that we can do is I'll be in your city, I think the first week of April. I'm trying to coordinate. So what we can do is we can go and visit the community, but we can take the students together with us and they can teach the classes. Because that's what we're doing with the teachers. Every week we train the teachers at Rosevale. They teach the students, but as the students complete, the 10-week journey, which they've just completed, then they can then go into the communities and teach. So it's not just us teaching, it's your kids getting involved as well. And then you'll see the transformation, because everyone hates homework. Everyone wants to hate an exam. But if I have to prepare, summarize my lessons to teach someone they really need, I'll have endless energy
Yes.
and time for it. So we can, create and bring them into our cycle of impact. But you can count on us.
Thank you
We'll
very
super be,
much.
and thank you for
Yes.
sharing your
Okay.
story.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we don't have time for further
My
questions,
cars.
but I think we've all been really inspired by Paula's words, and there's a lot for us to think about and to talk about. So before we close this morning, we would like, on behalf of PAREF, to present a certificate of appreciation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Toffer, and a bouquet presented by Toffer and Catherine. Thank you. Go, have a picture. Go, go, go. Right. And Paula, would it be okay if we have a group picture with everyone? Yeah. So how about we have a nice group picture? So maybe Paula, if you right. Okay, she'll get her business cards for everyone who's inviting her to their school and their country. So maybe we can just sort of converge in the middle, and then Paula will stand in front. You can ask the students. They'll face here, yes. So you can all face me here, and then we'll have Paula stand in the middle. So maybe you can just all converge in the middle. We can't do point 0.5 there. Boys, can you help? Can you help move everyone to the middle, please? Thank you. And then some people, boys, some people might want to have their photos, like they'll give you their phones for 2 rows. Ah, okay. So the first 2 rows, kindly sit down. And then the ones in the back, please remain standing. And there you go. Sige, sir. What else? Okay. So let's try to compress a little more, please. Okay, ladies who are seated in front, and then those who are in the back. And then where's Paula? Okay. Paula's still working. Okay. So we can move over here. She might run out of business cards. Oh, is this for Paula in here in front? That's for Paula. Okay. Kaya, sir. Kaya ba? Hi, Paula. You can take the seat right here in front. Great. Okay. The gentleman in the back, can you please move a little bit more? Thank you. Para balanced po. There. All right. No, where's that? Okay, he's the official photographer right over there. Okay, that's more than enough. Okay. So thank you so much, Paula Mills, for inviting yourself to Building Bridges. We enjoyed our morning with you. Thank you so much. And it's time, I believe, maybe we have a 5-minute break. I'm not sure, but it's time for the next breakout sessions. So, teaching for character back in the auditorium with Dr. Juan Dabdub. And then right here, mentoring for mental health with Mrs. Chippy Dioko. Thank you so much.